भगवते ॐ ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Chapter 2 Text 25 अव्यक्तो यम अचार्यम् अव्यक्तो यम अच्युतम् तस्मादेव विदित्वेन नानुशोचर्तुमर्हसि.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
अथम text 26 अथम चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचयितुमर्हसि.
If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty aunt.
Text 27 जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्यु ध्रुवं जन्म मृत्युश्च तस्मादपरियाते न त्वं शोचर्तुमर्हसि.
One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
Text 28 अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिधन्यानेव तत्र का परिदेवना.
All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their internal state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation?
629 आश्चर्यवपसति कश्चिदेन आश्चर्यवदति तथैव चान्यम् आश्चर्यजीन्य मन्यशृणोति श्रुत्वापि नितं वेद न जीव कश्चित्.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
They text 30 देहि नित्यं ममद्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्व भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचर्तुमर्हसि.
O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Text 31 स्वधर्म अपि चावक्ष्य न विकल्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याधियुधास्नेयो अन्यक्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation.
Text 32 युधक्षया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रिया पार्थ लभते युद्धमीदृशम्.
O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
633 अथं चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्य संज्ञानं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मकीर्ति च हित्वा पापवपास्यसि.
If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
634. अकीर्ति चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यति ते व्ययाम् सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्ति मरणादतिरिच्यते.
People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
635. भयाद्रणादुपरन्तम् मष्यन्ते त्वामहारथा येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant.
636 अवाच्य वादाश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिता निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्य ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
637 हतो वाप्याशसि स्वर्ग जित्वा वा मोक्ष्यसे महिम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चय.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
638 सुख दुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभलाभो जया जयो ततो युद्धाय युजस्व नैवं पापं हपास्यसि.
Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin.
639 एषा ते पिहित एषा ते पिहिता साङ्ख्ये बुद्धियोगे त्विमाशृणु बुद्धया युक्त यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि.
Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now, listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
640 नेहाभिकर्मणास्तोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्प स्वल्पस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्.
In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
641 व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखान्यनन्ताश्च बुद्ध्यो व्यवसायी नाम.
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched.
642 and 43 यमिमा पुष्पिता वाचं प्रवद्यन्त्य विपश्चित वेदवादरता पार्थ ज्ञानदस्थितिवादिन कामात्मान् स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुला भोगेश्चेय gati prati.
Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for the elevation to the heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this.
Text 44. Bhogescheya prasankanna kantan taya prahata chetasam vyavasa atmika buddhi samadho na vidyate.
In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things. The resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place.
Text 45. Trigurya visaya veda nistriguryo bhavarjuna nindado nitya sarvasto niyo bhaktima atmavan.
The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self.
Text 46. Yavanartha udapane sarvatah संप्लुतोदके तवान सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मण्यस्य विजानत.
All purposes served by the small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Text 47. कर्मणेवाधिकारस्ति मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफले हेतुभू मा ते संज्ञो स्व अकर्मणि.
You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
Text 48. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tvakta dhananjaya siddhayo bhutva samatva uchyate.
Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to the success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Meena Mataji and Shabani Mataji. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful recitation, and every time we read these verses and we read the translation, there's always a sense of newness. There's never a moment of lethargy, boredom, or if as if we know about it. None of that. Each and every verse and their translations, when you're reading, it looks like, oh, this is something new. This is what we need to do. And they're just sometimes feel like impossible things to do. For example, you have right to perform your duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. You were just reading this. I was just thinking, living entity is just opposite. He is thinking he's entitled to the fruits, but he doesn't want to perform his duty. So this material world is just the perverted reflection or the inverted reflection of the spiritual world. And therefore, what God is saying, he's saying that you don't worry about the fruits. You don't have entitlement to the fruits. Just do your duty. But the living entity, specifically in Kali Yuga, he doesn't want to do his duty. He is fighting for the entitlement of his fruits. So this is how they are so amazing revelations. So thank you for reading. By reading them, we strengthen our intelligence and we worship Lord Krishna through our intelligence like that. So today's verse, I believe, is verse number 32. Let me just go to the verse number 32. I think I'll have to just open the default mode. Okay, my voice is echoing. Is everybody finding my voice okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much for confirming. Okay, we're going to go to verse number 32. Here it is. Yadrakshaya chopapannam sargadaram swargadwaram pavratam yadrakshaya chopapannam swargadwaram apavritam sukhinah kshatriyaha partha labhante yuddhamidrisham sukhinah kshatriyaha partha labhante yuddham idrisham yadrakshaya chopapannam sargadaram apavritam sukhinah kshatriyaha partha labhante yuddham idrisham. Yadr akshaya, by its own accord, cha, also, upapannam, arrived at, swarga, of the heavenly planets, dwaram, door, apavritam, wide open, sukhinaha, very happy, kshatriyaha, the members of the royal order, partha, O son of Pratha, labhante, do achieve, yuddham, war, idrisham, like this. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. Purport by Sri Prabhupada. Sri Prabhupada ki jai. As supreme teacher of the world, Lord Krishna condemns the attitude of Arjun, who said, I do not find any good in this fighting. It will cause perpetual habitation in hell. Such statements by Arjun were due to ignorance only. He wanted to become non-violent in the discharge of his specific duty. For a Kshatriya to be on the battlefield and to become non-violent is the philosophy of fools. In the Parashar Smriti, or religious quotes made by Parasar, the great sage and father of Vyasadeva, it is stated, Kshatriyo hi prajarakshan shastrapani pradandayan nirijitya parasenyadi chitim dharmena palalet. The Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kinds of difficulties. And for that reason, he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore, he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus, with religious principles, he should rule over the world. Considering all aspects, Arjun had no reason to refrain from fighting. If he should conquer his enemies, he would enjoy the kingdom. And if he should die in the battle, he would be elevated to the heavenly planets, whose doors were wide open to him. Fighting would be for his benefit in either case. So I'll just read the verse again. Yadrakshaya chopapannam swargadwaram pavritam sukhinah kshatriyaha partha labhante yuddham midrisham. Om Agyanam Timirindasya Gyananjana Chakchuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatikamelam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuetam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Namami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Maharaj ki jai. So we can see how expertly Krishna, like an expert logician, is giving arguments to Arjun to ensure him that whatever he's thinking, not fighting is not going to bring any benefit to nobody. On the contrary, if he fights, even if he's defeated, he will gain. What will he gain? He will gain the kingdoms of heaven. And if he win the battle, he will be like a king. Of course, he will be king ruling the planet Earth. So in either situation, materially, he is benefited. So Krishna is challenging this thinking of that if he commits sin, he will be going to the hellish planets. And that's where Krishna is saying to him that it's an opportunity which is opened up for him, which is opening up doors of the heavenly planets for him. Chopapannam, he will be arriving at Swargadwaram. He will arrive at Swargadanam by its own accord. Yadrakshaya. It has opened up the Swargadwaram opportunity to go to Swargadwaram, which is wide open, apavritam. So see the thinking here of the God and the conditioned soul, who is nobody else but Krishna's devout devotee. The thinking is quite different. It's just opposite. And till such time that thinkings are opposite between a living entity and God, then the alignment is not there. And because the conditioned soul is part and parcel of Krishna, the Ishvara, if the alignment is not there, then there'll be no happiness. Because if the bhava, the thinking, the heart, the nature, the consciousness is not at the same platform, then living entity will formulate his own ripples. And whereas Supreme Lord has this bigger ripple in which all the ripples must fit. If they don't, they will simply contradict and end up causing disturbances. Disturbances to the self, disturbances to the society, and to everybody. And this is why it is so important that the conditioned soul's will should become one with the will of the Lord. And in such a state, that conditioned soul will no more be a conditioned soul. Will become a devotee of the Lord, where Lord will then utilize that conditioned soul for the purpose of exercising his own will. And in doing so, the conditioned soul will feel happier because it is his constitutional position to be the part and parcel of the Lord, in the sense not as physically part and parcel, but in the sense that his will, his consciousness, his thinking is exactly like the thinking of the Lord. Then that's what we see in the heart of pure devotees. Their will is exactly the will of the Lord. And when that happens, then that's the success of human life. And these conversations that's happening between Arjun and Krishna at the moment are not the first of the conversations on this subject. There had been conversations many times. And so let's go back to the time when Pandavas were sent to exile. And their last year, they had to spend in incognito, which means they were supposed to be hiding their identity. The condition was that if they are seen or identified and caught, then they'll have to go for another exile of the same period. So we know the story that how in the kingdom of Virat, all the Pandavas, they took shelter in the kingdom of Virat and they disguised themselves. Yudhishthira was a conch who was playing chess with the king. Bhimsen, he became one of the cooks in the kingdom. Arjun became Brehanlala, one of the teachers to Uttara, teaching her the science of or the art of dancing and singing. And Lakul and Sahadev, they started to take care of Ashwa, the horses, because they were very, very good in their understanding of the horses. And as the horses are the most powerful riders in the battlefield. And then Draupadi was also there trying to serve the queen of Virat. And when towards the end, the entire incognito period was over, just towards the end, it was found, Duryodhan could found that he had a battle with Arjun and he felt that he has brought an end to the incognito prior to the time and therefore they must all go back to exile. But of course, everybody else was not agreeing that they were caught before time. That time was just over and hence the allegation of Duryodhan was not taken by anybody. Over the period of time, Yudhishthira Maharaj sent a message to Dhritarashtra that they should be rightfully given 50% of the kingdom so that they can rule, and there was a condition. Of course, they have put together Indraprastha, which was acquired by cheating in the game of dice. So with that kind of background, Yudhishthira Maharaj was sent a message back that they will not be given even his request became very simple. He said, I'm a Kshatriya, we all are, and our occupation is to rule the kingdom. And our occupation is to protect, and that is our propensity. And if we don't get to do our propensity, then we cannot become beggars or sadhus. So we need our kingdoms. You don't want to part with the entire kingdom, 50% of the kingdom. Just give us 5 villages, just 5 villages. And we all, my brothers, I will console them. I'll satisfy them with these 5 villages, including me. We will stay rest of our life ruling these 5 villages. When he heard back from Dhritarashtra, even this request was refused. And Yudhishthir, he approached Krishna, saying that, Krishna, you find a way out to this, because now it looks like that the proper time has come for fighting the war. It's a hard duty of Kshatriya to fight. And if that happens, then there'll be so many innocent people in the kingdom who will be dead. Therefore, I want to ask Dhritarashtra to peacefully return to us what is already ours. Otherwise, we'll have to resort to war, which will bring fraud and misery. Of course, Yudhishthira did not relish the prospect of war, and that too with his own elders. So he approached Keshav. Oh my lord, what is your opinion? What is the path of virtue? This is Dharmaraj, who has never acted beyond dharma, who has always followed dharma. But now he's resolving, he's reaching out to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagvat pranite. Anything that is spoken by Krishna is dharma. So you want to hear from Krishna that what should be the course of action. With folded palms, he reaches out to Krishna. And then Krishna says, Dharmaraj, whatever, whether or not to fight is no more your choice. The choice belongs to Dhritarashtra right now. I am going to try to go there and appeal for peace. If peace can be achieved, then I would think that I have done something virtuous, and the Kurus and the Pandav armies will be freed from the trap of death. So Yudhishthira said, no, Krishna, that is not my wish that you go to Kurus. Because we know Duryodhan, even if you go there, he is vicious. He can harm you. He can say harsh words to you. He does not respect the elders. So Krishna, we do not wish this to happen. Krishna laughed. He said, I know Duryodhan, but if I do not go to the Kurus for the peace, and by doing so, there'll be nobody in the world then who can point fingers to you and me, saying that Krishna did not try for the peace. And he said that, do not be worried about me. Entire planet, all the rulers of the earth, they cannot stand before me in battle when I am angry. If the Kurus insult me, when I desire their good, then I shall consume them. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj, he folded his palms and accepted the will of the Lord. And he said, okay, my Lord, if you want to go to Hastinapur, please do so. You are a dear, dear friend to us and to me, and in particular to Arjun. We rely on your friendship and we're not anxious. Please speak to Duryodhana in a way that secures peace, because that is the end objective. And this way, Yudhishthira and Krishna had these conversations.
Let me do it. It's fine.
Sorry, I'll have to put some people on the mute. Please give me a moment. Okay, which I've done now. Thank you. So Krishna face assumed a grave expression, and he said to Dhritarashtra, look, I know your intentions and I know Duryodhana's intentions. You would prefer peace by any means, but it's not Kshatriya's duty to avoid a war which is fought for righteousness to prevent dharma. So Kshatriyas cannot gain their livelihood by begging or gathering fruits and the roots in the forest. You have been spending so much of time in exile, and that's not the spirit of Kshatriyas. Your tolerance is maybe now seen as your weakness. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was very humble always. And Krishna mentioned that this Duryodhana will take advantage of your mildness and the tolerance you display. The only way is now the language of strength and threat. Nobody will be benefited if Duryodhana is allowed to get away with cruelty and deceit. He did not show any shame for having sent you to the forest and clad you in the skin of deers. All you 5 Pandavas, you were ruling a kingdom and you are forced or dragged out of the kingdoms deceitfully. Not only that, at that time, Krishna's eyes blazed when he said that, when he recalled the incident of Draupadi's violation. His eyes blazed, his voice became very stern. It echoed in the halls, and he said, all the kings present shed tears, and they said bad things about Duryodhana, but they did nothing. Nobody stopped that cruel act of disrobing Draupadi. And for that act alone, this Duryodhana is fit to be killed by anyone. What to speak by yourselves? He's condemned by the Brahmins, he's condemned by the virtuous men. He's as good as dead already. Just as there is no sin attached to killing a serpent, so there is no sin attached to killing him. See, now what Krishna is saying, you can see how he's repeating those words in the battlefield as well. It wasn't that Krishna's mind has changed or will has changed. That particular day, when Duryodhana and when that Dusashan touched the sari of Draupadi and tried to disrobe her, that moment Krishna has made a decision about this Duryodhana. And is revealing his mind to Pandavas much prior to the battlefield. He's clearly saying there is no sin attached to killing a serpent. And therefore, there is no sin attached to killing a serpent, there is no sin attached to killing this Duryodhana. So Krishna paused. Pandavas rarely saw him, or Yudhishthira rarely saw Krishna that angry ever. And therefore, Krishna wanted to just talk a little bit more to everybody. And so he turned towards Bhima. Somehow Bhima was little mild. And he said to Krishna, Krishna, I know you have made a decision, but please be careful. This Duryodhan, he is arrogant. He's very resentful. And he will not perhaps be able to hear the good advice you will give to him. So maybe better it is that you just be sweet to him. Don't speak harsh words to him. Bhima is acting very unlike the Bhim we know. He's saying to Krishna, please treat him with courtesy. It will be difficult to effect peace, but please try your best. That wicked Duryodhan, you can't trust him. And if he tried to do something, like Kali was born among the Asuras, so the Duryodhan has taken birth among the Kurus. And he can extinguish a race. So better we all live like brothers and there should be no war. I was surprised looking at Bhimsen, who has always talked about war, who will become furious, who will lose all his compassion and all his heart. And he'll let go himself and saying that, I would go and kill him now. But he wouldn't be allowed. And so Krishna was surprised and he said, Bhim said, your words are like coldness in the fire of light on the earth. He frowned and said to him, what has happened? Who has brought about the change of heart? All this time you have been talking about war, and suddenly you're talking about this, be sweet and kind and be peaceful, and he will extinguish our race. What is this display of mildness? So Krishna said some harsh words out of affection. Why have you become like a eunuch? He used the same word to Arjun, remember? He used the same word. Why have you become like eunuch? So Krishna is using the same word here. Devoid of manliness. You don't give away to fear. I'm quite amazed to hear and see your state of mind, Bhim. So Krishna reminded him of that. He's a Kshatriya, you're a Kshatriya, you're meant to live and fight. Why this weakness of heart is coming to you, Bhima? So when a horse is prodded by a rider, similarly, Bhima felt prodded and he stood up and he spoke his mind. And he said that don't think my mind is weak. I can speak of my prowess in order to ease your mind. And Bhima, he stood up and he started to held out to his arms, and he says, my arms resemble pair of trunks of elephant, and anybody in the whole entire creation come into these arms, he could not escape. And then he says, just like the earth and heaven, if they were to suddenly come against one another like two mountains, Bhimsen has the power. Bhimsen's arms have the power. These two arms have the power to hold them and separate these movable planets, the earth and heaven. Anybody who comes against us, I'll trample them under my feet. Oh, Achyuta, you don't know me? You surely know me. How have you used these words against me, for me? You know that I can cut these Kauravas down, along with their elephants and horses and everybody and chariots. I was just speaking out of mercy, oh Krishna. So Krishna smiled. I know you, Bhimsen. You're saying, and your intentions are, you're desiring, and your intentions are different, but I was saying this out of affection. So I'm inspired by your words of determination. And he told the future. He said a firm action will soon be required. Without action, a man cannot achieve his ends in this world. So a firm action is soon required. Those who remain idle, either out of ignorance or out of fear, they do not achieve any success. That's how Krishna told Bhima. Then finally, Krishna looked towards Arjun. And what is your view, Dhananjay? I shall leave towards the evening to Hastinapur. Do you want to say something? And this far, Arjun has been silently listening. And when his turn came, he said to O Janardhan, he addressed Krishna as, O Janardhan, my elder brother Yudhishthir, he had already said what needed to be said. But I can see that maybe there is no peace in the future. And maybe that there's a war in the future. So if peace is desired by you, if that is what is in your heart, I am up for it. I am with you, O Keshav. But O Keshav, if you want to fight the war, if you desire the war, here is my promise, I am ready to fight. So this is the heart of devotee. He's saying, it's not my will, but I want. It's not my way, highway. It's your way, highway. You want me to fight? I will fight. You don't want me to fight? I will not fight, O Krishna. If you desire peace, let it be so. So this is a sign of surrender soul. And when the time has come, Arjun is not able to keep his promise at this moment in time. He's overwhelmed by the emotions, which is considered as the weakness of the heart, and attachment to the material world, attachment to the material relationships. So in this conversation, we are reminded of how the promises has been made and how now Arjun is not able to follow that promise. So Arjun then rested his hand on a long sword, and he also could not see any chance of peace. Even if Krishna go to Hastinapur, he was doubtful. He was very doubtful that this will happen. Ultimately, everything will depend upon Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana's free will. Krishna does not interfere with the free will of the living entity. Just imagine a person is given the best of the best comforts, a palatial place to live, servants all around, any facility that he wants to sleep. He has got wonderful, nice, soft beds, all room decorated with silk. He has got all the pleasures of the world to please his senses, the objects of his desires, nice food, nice everything. But he's not allowed to play his free will. So if he wants to sleep, he's asked to play. He wants to play, he's asked to sleep, and he has to follow. He wants to eat something, let's say gulab jamun, but he's asked to eat karela. Can he live? Can a person live in a golden cage like this? Impossible. He would say, I would rather live in a hut, rather live in poverty, but I want my freedom. He will run out of that place. Knowing this, Krishna never ever interferes with the free will. If he wanted, he could have finished this Kaurava army long time ago. His chakra is powerful enough, and just by his will, chakra goes and he can do the job. But Krishna is allowing the free will to play its role. And therefore, Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana had a free will. And so far, there was no sign that they would respond favorably, even if Krishna goes there. At that point in time, Arjun's voice rose in great anger. And he said to Krishna, and now he's speaking. He's speaking something that he would eventually do, but he could not in between. He's taking a pause. He doesn't want to fight. So Arjuna spoke that evil-minded Duryodhan, he deserves to die, Krishna. He deserves to die. His brothers cruelly and deceitfully robbed us of our kingdom. And not only that, they insulted Draupadi. They insulted our wife Draupadi. Panchali, she's so pure, she's so chaste. They tried to disrobe her. I cannot see this person accepting your good counsel, Krishna. Your words will be like throwing seeds on the barren land. They will not bear any tree or fruits. Krishna, if you think he should be destroyed, then let's do it at once. Oh Lord, but there is nothing to be considered on this matter. And therefore, let there be the battle. What will a Kshatriya do? Turning away from fight? Even if death stares down upon him, a Kshatriya never turns down in the battlefield, O Krishna. This is how Arjuna is saying. And now he's turning down. You see, at the moment of difficulty is the test of living entity. We can say many words, many things, and we can be very powerful in our determination. But if the right time comes and the test is taken, and Krishna puts us to test, okay, you seem to understand, you seem to be my devotee now, you seem to understand that you have to follow the vows, you have taken the vows in front of the deities, in front of the Guru, in front of all the Vaishnavas. Now I'll put you to test. And let's see if you are able to follow your vows or not. Srila Prabhupada was saying that at the time of initiation, a devotee takes a vow. At that point of initiation, Guru takes away all karmic reaction of billions of lifetimes whatsoever. And it's the beginning of a new life. Now, if a devotee just follow 4 regulated principles and continues the process of devotion, chanting, serving the Vaishnavas, develop the qualities of humility, tolerance, do his Navada Bhakti, goes to the temple, serve the deities, study Bhagavatam, take association with the devotees, eat prasadam only, and does not violate the rules, his going to back to Godhead is confirmed. But at the same time, if he becomes outwardly a devotee, a showmaker, and inwardly he desires to enjoy the material world, inwardly he wants to violate the principles that he has taken vow for, then such a disgrace. Who can save such a person? So Srila Prabhupada says that this is the biggest offense against the holy name. Biggest offense, that I know that by chanting the holy names of the Lord, I'll be relieved from the innumerable sins that I've accumulated. And therefore, in the daytime, I can do aparadh. I can do whatever I want to do. I can violate the principles. But in the evening or the morning, I'll chant my rounds, I'll be free from all the reactions. And that is the worst kind of aparadh. At least devotees who are open, who know they are doing, they will correct themselves. But those who are outwardly showing something and inwardly desiring, they will eventually be not successful. And they are deceiving themselves. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada is warning us. He's warning us. Now that you have come so close to Krishna, don't fall victim to the desires. Don't fall victim to the desires. So this Arjun, he conveys to Krishna that I'll fight, Krishna. Even if death stares upon me, I will fight. So Krishna says, it's exactly as you say, Arjun. Both the war and peace lie in my hands, but I will not force either. I will not force peace. I will not force war. I will simply convey message of Yudhishthira to the Kurus in the assembly of Kurus. And then I will let them take the decision. In my hands, in my heart, I want to do something that is good for Dharmaraj Yudhishthira. And something that can punish their wicked Duryodhana. So like that, Krishna then looks at the twin brothers and looks at Draupadi. Draupadi said wonderful things to Krishna. She emphasized that only by battle we will recover the kingdom. What's the point of going there, O Janardhan? O Krishna? Unless it is to annihilate those sinful men, why should you be going in their assembly? You should not show any mercy at this time. Do not let yourself be touched by such sinful people, O Janardhan. She was feeling the pain all the time. That moment became the moment of truth for her for all the moments. Draupadi would not be able to think about anything else but that the Sashan should be teared apart and she should wash her open hair with the blood of the Sashan. Can you imagine? Somebody's wife is always living in agony like this, and that person at the moment of war is saying, Janardhan, I will not fight now. Hot tears are falling from the eyes of Draupadi when she was speaking like this. And Krishna's heart was going to her. Panchali, don't cry. You will see the Kaurava's wife weep as you weep now. And this is Krishna speaking, the God himself. When the God have ordained, who can stop it? Who can stop it? And he says, Bhima, Arjun, the Yudhishthira, twin brothers, all of us, and I will kill them. So Krishna is promising Draupadi right now. And how can Krishna now not fulfill that promise that he's giving to Draupadi? And how can now Krishna also fell prey to the emotions of what Arjun is displaying on the battlefield? That cannot happen. It's not possible for Krishna to go back on his words. He has given his words to Yudhishthira. He has given his words to Draupadi. And this Arjun has given his words to Krishna, and now he's saying, I cannot fight. And Krishna is convincing. Krishna is convincing him that fight, oh Arjun, fight. You have nothing to lose. What kind of discussions are you doing? Have you lost your mind? You don't remember the conversations we had in the past about this battle? You wanted to kill them all. And now you're saying you don't want to fight? And if you don't fight, what will happen? You will go to hell. At least you will qualify to go to heaven now if you fight. And everybody will think that you're a coward. So Krishna has presented so many arguments in the previous verses. We know that. And now Krishna is, of course, Krishna is not going to give up. Anybody else could have been thinking, oh, my friend, you're going through pain. Oh, this is not right thing to do. You're right. We should not fight. No, Krishna is not going to give in to these arguments. Krishna is absolute. He's not relative. He's absolute. His emotions are governed by his own desires of free will. He is making dharma. He is making rules in the material world. Whatever he speaks becomes the principles. Because he's God himself. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Eta Chamsa Kalapumsa. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And Bhagavan is speaking. How can Bhagavan come attached? Bhagavan cannot be attached to the things of this world, specifically the matter in which this body is sitting. The body is dwelling around in the matter. And anybody who, like Arjun, is thinking that whatever he's related to with his relatives, he has got that attachment of emotions, weakness of the heart. Only living entity who is a conditioned soul can fall prey to these kind of things, not Krishna. Krishna is absolute, he's God. He lives in complete bliss. He's Sat, Chit and Anand. He doesn't know the miseries of this world that conditioned soul is going through because of his own attachments to the body. Not realizing that his soul has to leave the body at one day. And the only resolve is to take shelter of Krishna, who is absolute, who does not get into these kind of mental tribulations. So Krishna is giving wonderful direction to Arjun as a mentor, as a coach, as a guru, as a friend at this point in time. And somebody who is not a devotee of the Lord may think, oh, how come God is misguiding? How is he promoting the war? The war was the right thing to do. The misguidance was by this conditioned soul. Arjun is a devotee of the Lord, but he's acting like a conditioned soul, giving us a lesson, representing all of us. And therefore, from today's verse, we learn. After this point in time, today's verse, we learn that we should stay stable on the face of difficulties. Many situations will come and they break us, break our resolute determination. Our determination has to be resolute. Otherwise, it will be multi-branch, multifarious. And then we will not be able to act. Krishna is saying that one who is not able to act, how can he achieve success? We have to act, but how? In a way that is as per the will of the Lord. And then Krishna is promising that you will come back to me. You do not have to suffer through the pranks of these material modes of nature. So thereafter, maybe next class, I don't know what the verse will be. If the context is right, I can cover what happened when Krishna goes to Hastinapur and what happens in the assembly of Kurus. How Krishna shows his universal form to everybody. What is that form? Who all sees? Who were all present in that assembly? The rishis, the kinnaras, the Narad, the Parshuram, demigods. And how Krishna showed his universal form to this Duryodhan, and how this Duryodhan wanted to capture Krishna, thinking he is to be a mystic person, not able to recognize the personality of Godhead right before his eyes. Another example of Mudha. So we'll look into that in our next session if the context is right. In last class, we had a question by Her Grace Krishnavani Mataji and others supported. I also checked in Mahabharata and I got back an answer to that question, whether or not the Kauravas were found, or specifically Duryodhana was found sitting in heaven when Yudhishthira Maharaj left the planet after the war and after ruling the world. The answer to that is yes. I confirmed in Mahabharata that Duryodhana was seen sitting on the throne, golden throne in the heavenly planets. And the reason for that was given that because he did not put his back, put his back towards the Pandavas in the battlefield, and because he continuously fought, therefore he was awarded the place in the heaven. for some time, because this is the reward. Anybody in the battlefield, if they don't turn their back on the battlefield and they fight for, with bravery, they are awarded heavenly planets. And therefore, Krishna, when he's arguing here and giving this reasoning to Arjun, he's right in saying that even if a demoniac soul is going to go to heavenly planets, what to talk about Arjun, who's nobody but his own, who's always abiding by the laws of dharma, who is the best friend, who is nobody but Nar and Narayan. They're Nar and Narayan from the previous birth, always together, always together. Okay, I think it's 8:53 already. If there are any comments or feedback, please, we can have a discussion for a couple of minutes. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very nice discourse. I wanted to ask you, you said that it is not a sin to kill a serpent, but is Krishna's soul not even in the serpent?
Yeah, there is a soul in every living entity. And the scorpion and serpent, according to Shastra, if we see them and we kill them, there is no sin accrued. The reason being that the serpent, specifically snakes and scorpions, they both are very, very envious, and they can bite you to death without any reason. And because of that nature in that body they are sitting in, they're a soul, of course. If we kill them, they'll be elevated and there'll be no sinful reaction to us. It is just because of the nature of that person. Not only that, we can see how Krishna is condemning Arjun not to kill Duryodhana, who is wicked, who is adharmic. Even killing him will not be a sin. What to talk about a snake? Because snake has the same nature. He's the most snake. It is the most envious creature on the planet. So it'll just bite you without any reason. And because it has got poisonous teeth, it has the capability of killing. And therefore, it is allowed by Shastra that you can kill these two, the snake and scorpion.
Okay, so what about the slugs in the garden? You plant the flowers to offer to Krishna, and the slugs come and eat them up. What about that?
Right. So same rule does not apply to all. We have to go by Shastra. If Shastra says something, we believe it to it and we follow it. Now, it's not mentioned in Shastra about slugs. They appear to be innocent creatures. Sukdev Goswami has mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that there are certain creatures such as mosquitoes, termites. They feed on the blood of human being. They don't know themselves that they're causing pain to human beings. And if human beings are killing them recklessly, then they will go to a planet in the hell where the same living entity like mosquitoes and termites, they'll become very big and they'll come and eat and feed on the human being. And this way human beings are punished. And therefore, a recommendation from Srimad Bhagavatam is that a householder should treat all the living entities as the part and parcel of their own family members and cause limited hinsa or violence to any other living entity. Now, this rule can be extended to whatever limits, but we all do some of the other sinful activities, and therefore, when you're in coal mine, you cannot save yourself from the black. Somehow or the other, you'll get some black somewhere because it's all coal mine around you. Therefore, it's all sin around us, because when the moment you wave your hand, you have already killed so many microbes. We kill spiders knowingly and unknowingly. We kill mosquitoes, so many germs. And when we take out the crop, so many Insects are getting killed in the process. So there is no way that in the world of sin you will not commit any sin. It will happen. The only way out, therefore, according to Shastra, is that we adopt to the process of surrender, and by doing that, ultimately Guru and Krishna, they will take away all our sins, and that's the only process. I hope I have answered, Mataji.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Pramila Mataji. Thank you. Is there any other question in the group or comment in the group?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for your comment last
And
week.
pranam, and
Nice. I
thank
read.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Sorry?
clarifying.
Thank you.
Thank you for the answer. Thank you. And another thing, comment to the slugs. I was also struggling and suffering with the same thing because, for Krishna's flowers. So I admit that I use slug pellets. But
Mhm.
recently I found something that somebody said, hing asafoetida.
Mm.
So if we sprinkle asafoetida, water in the garden and the plants, then the slug doesn't like the smell and they might not come. So we can only try.
Mm.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
There is a question in the chat with reference to free will from Surabhi Mataji. With reference to free will, is there everything free will or is everything predestined as per desire of Krishna? Then the second question is, should war be of last resort after all peaceful means of resolving a situation have been exhausted? Or is the duty of Kshatriyas to punish or kill those who have broken certain religious principles without seeking a peaceful resolution first? And third question, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, after that soul goes not the body, then how come Duryodhan and others got the same body you mentioned? Question follows, in the spectrum of destiny and free will, how much percentage of free will, if any, is present with us? Okay, they're all very, very good questions. I'll just address. Do we have time to take these questions now? I think 5 minutes I will require. If there is willingness, I can continue because it's 9 o'clock now.
Yes, Prabhuji, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, free will and destiny. Whatever is coming to us at the moment, in the present, is coming by our activities that we have done in the past. It does not appear like that. It looks like I'm doing here something and I'm getting some result. But all the happiness and grief or sadness that we get is coming, distress is coming from the activities of the past, the activities that we have done in the past. If we have done pap karma in the past, they are appearing as sinful reactions, so we get miseries. And if we have done a lot of pious activities in the past, we will get what we say happiness. Now, this is something that is coming on its own accord by the arrangement of the material nature. Material nature knows who has done what, and according to that, minute by minute, moment by moment, we are either suffering or we are enjoying. Both are part of the same coin, happiness and distress of this world. Now, free will is something that if I exercise my free will today and don't get subjected to my material desires, so to say, if I exercise my free will, I'm creating my destiny for the next life and for the future. And that free will is there. So what I don't have, I do not have an escape from the results of my past activities, which is my prarabdha karma. But what I have a free will to exercise now activities to create a new form of destiny. And therefore, this free will is an amazing thing that we have in this material world. Even though we are subjected to the three modes of material nature, we cannot act out of those nature. But within that three modes of nature, we have a free will to act in such a way that we can free ourselves from the foundation of the material world. Another analogy is given that if you are in a plane and plane is going to a certain destination, eventually you will go to that destination. But while sitting in the plane, you have a free will to move about. You can go from one side of the plane to the other side. You can drink, see whatever you want to see, and you can sleep if you want. So activities are there that you can do, and you will not feel that you have no free will because you are able to exercise your free will within the limitations. Similarly, these three modes of material nature and the karma, all of that is binding us completely in a certain confinement. If somebody has not done pious karma enough, pious activities in the past, even though he tries his level best, he will never become so rich as he wants to become like others. The Prabhupada says that if you have got second compartment ticket, you will not be allowed to sit in the first compartment. However hard you try, first you go and purchase the ticket. So that ticket has already been purchased in the past. And therefore, whatever we are getting now, it's a reality that whatever we are getting now is coming from the past and we cannot change it. We have to limit ourselves or live in that confinement of the analogy of aeroplane dimensions. But within that, whatever happening to me, I can still get up early in the morning, I can chant my rounds, I can do whatever I want to please Lord Krishna and go beyond the modes of nature. We have the ability by exercising our free will to conquer the foundations of the material modes of nature. And we can experience it, even though we are just babies into the devotional life and walking mini step, dwarf steps, but we can still feel the relaxation of material modes of nature on our mind, how the anxieties are relieved by the association and the knowledge of the scriptures. So that is between destiny and free will. Now, somebody, yeah, the question was, sorry, yes, Surabhi Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. I'm trying to understand. So free will also have some kind of limitations, yeah? So is there anything like...
Yes, like aeroplane. If you think that I want to go to the sea now, that's not possible. So somebody thinks I want to go to the moon, not possible. I want to become young, not possible. I want to stay always beautiful, not possible. I want to eat so much and digest it all, not possible. So there are so many limitations. Now with that limitation, for example, if I eat so much of gulab jamuns and I can digest it, not possible. But can I eat gulab jamun? Yes. Can I eat kheer? Yes. Can I eat? No, I want to eat pizza. Fine. So you have the choices and you can exercise that free will within those choices. The choices are limited. For example, when we raise our children, we can, as parents, create choices for them. We can create a very nice spiritual environment at home, and then kids have the choice. Oh, I'm going to read Gita. No, I'm not going to read Gita. I'm going to read Bhagavatam. No, Chaitanya Charitamrita. No, I'm going to listen to Maharaj. No, I want to listen to contemporary Gaur Gopal or someone else. So we have created a set of choice for the children, but I could have created a different set of choice. I want to see this movie. I want to see that show. I want to play that game. So that's another set of choice. So what kind of choices are presented to us is our confinement. And then whatever we choose within that confinement is my free will. That clear?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
And there was a question about, is the war last resort after all peaceful means of resolving the situation? So this war is very special, what we are seeing at the moment. Not every wars are like this of this material world, because all the wars of the material world are motivated by the personal desire of living entities, not by the personal desire of the God. This particular war is the war desired by God himself. And the wars will continue to happen. The wars have happened in the past, in the future also. But this war was very special. Now, to answer the question whether or not we should try all the ways of attaining peace, the answer is yes. And Srila Prabhupada has given a wonderful formula. He's given this Krishna conscious movement, and he's saying that this all kind of this international organizations like UNICEF, etc., or peacemaking organizations, they're all a failure because they're killing animals, eating these animals, and therefore they're creating violence all over the world. The same animal propensity. He's saying that I'm giving you a peace formula here. Under the banner of Krishna consciousness, entire world can live here peacefully. There's no need of war because it's not the desire of the Lord anymore to do the wars. The desire of the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to reclaim the conditioned souls. In that consciousness, in that context, we need peace, and that peace can come through Sankirtan movement. When people of conditioned souls of this world will adopt to Krishna consciousness, they dance on the singing and chanting of the holy name, the Mahamantra, and then the peace will be restored. This is the peace formula that has been given to us, complete peace formula. So Kshatriya need to punish those who are not following Dharma, but Kshatriyas are not there anymore, just like Brahmanas are not there in the material world, and nobody knows what is Dharma. That is an unfortunate situation. And all we have is these Sudras and some of the Vaisyas, and these Sudras are elected by other Sudras to become the head of the nation and the leaders of the societies, and therefore blind leading the blind. This is not what I am saying. This is exactly what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Whenever we read and hear Srila Prabhupada's literature, we can see how his interpretations about this world. Now, Duryodhan and everybody else got the same bodies in the heavenly planets. So all I know is that Kauravas, they were transported to the above the material world in the same bodies. So conceptually, when the living entity becomes pure devotee of the Lord, his nature of spirit overtakes his love for the material nature, material bodies. This material body is nothing but matter. When the living entity becomes completely absorbed and gets spiritualized, like a small iron rod, a small particle goes into the fire, becomes fiery. Similarly, the material body becomes completely spiritualized, and hence the devotee can go, because it's a spiritual body, then it's no more a material body. I don't know if Duryodhan was identified as Duryodhan in that particular. They're all extraordinary people. So otherwise, if somebody has not spiritualized their body, it is not possible to go to any other abode in this particular body, which is made of earth, fire, air, ether, water, which is the element of the earthly planets. So you can't travel with these elements which are predominating to this planet to any other planet. So that is not possible. And that is given as an evidence at many places in Srila Prabhupada books. So with that, I think I have answered the questions that we had here. And I really want to thank all the devotees
Hare
for
Krishna,
accommodating
Prabhuji.
this long
Hare
class here.
Krishna.
Yuni Mataji, my obeisances to you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you.
I'm just thinking about the theme in this,
Sorry, you're muted.
about honor being the theme right through this verse. Why is so much emphasis put on honor and making it can be destructive, can't it, as well?
Yes, Krishna is using arguments which are working for changing the heart of Arjun. He can use the same argument to turn somebody else's heart against the war. So he's using that to chastise Arjun, that your honor is that of Kshatriya and you want to lose that honor. So it's like that. It's not that Krishna is saying that you identify the body with your occupation and then you become proud of that and then you don't want to leave that, identity of the body. So that's not what it means. Okay, I think devotees are leaving now. So
Yes, Haribol.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayevcha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.